They never said it, never confessed it. No "I love you" slipped from their mouth. And yet, you knew. Not because they gave you flowers, or posted about you online, or promised the moon under a velvet sky. You knew because something in their presence quieted your nervous system. Time slowed down, the atmosphere shifted, and you felt safe, not just physically, but existentially. As if a part of you long left unseen was finally acknowledged, wordlessly. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." And that's what this is. Not performance, not perfection, but a psychic resonance that alters you both. Real love rarely needs a declaration. Sometimes it doesn't even know how to speak in words. It simply emanates. Through eyes that soften when they look at you. Through pauses where they let you exist without interruption. This kind of love is not showy. It's sacred. So how do you know, really know, when someone truly loves you without saying a single word? Let's look beyond the surface. Because love, in the deepest sense, is not a performance of the ego. It is the silent ritual of the soul. To Jung, love was never just an emotion or fleeting feeling. It was the movement of the self, that deep inner compass that guides us toward wholeness. When we feel truly connected to someone, what's really happening beneath the surface is an energetic recognition. The soul sees something familiar, something essential, in the other. This is why falling in love often feels fated. It's not coincidence, it's psychic alignment. In Jungian psychology, love activates projection. We unconsciously cast parts of our own psyche onto another person. The things we admire in them often reflect disowned aspects of ourselves. But when love is mature, when it transcends the ego's grasp, it becomes a space for individuation, for both people to become more of who they truly are. That kind of love is rarely loud. It's rarely theatrical. Instead, it's deeply reverent. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, love is lacking, Jung wrote. When someone truly loves you, they don't seek to control or impress. Their presence becomes attuned to your essence. They protect your quiet, honor your growth, and listen, even when you don't speak. You'll feel their love not in what they say, but in how they orbit you, gently, patiently, unshakably. The unconscious has a language of its own, and when it loves, you'll know. Sign number 1, their energy softens around you. They never say the words, but watch closely. When you step into the room, something in them subtly shifts. The air around them changes. Their body, often tense with the weight of daily masks, relaxes. Their shoulders drop, their voice grows more gentle, and the frantic rhythm of their breath slows just slightly. Their energy, once guarded or brisk, now feels like a quiet lake, still, receptive, calm. This is not a performance. It's not a rehearsed charm or a conscious flirtation. It's the unconscious speaking. Carl Jung believed the feeling function wasn't just about emotion, it was about evaluation. It tells us what we value. And love, true soul-aligned love, softens that function. It disarms the ego's defenses. You'll sense this in their micro-reactions, how they remember small things you never repeated, how their attention tunes to you without demanding yours in return. It's a kind of psychic warmth. Their entire being adjusts in your presence, not to impress you, but to be near you more truthfully. There's no urgency in their gaze, only presence. This softening is not weakness. In fact, it often terrifies them. The shadow tension of love is vulnerability. They may retreat at times, unsure of how to stay open without feeling exposed. They might test the waters of distance, hoping it'll bring them back to the safety of detachment, but their soul has already revealed its truth. Love that softens is not fabricated, it's remembered. It comes from something ancient within them recognizing something ancient within you. And whether or not they have the words or the courage to name it, their body, their energy, their silence, all say what their ego cannot. When someone's energy relaxes in your presence, when they become more gentle, more real, more whole, it's not just that they're comfortable, it's that for a brief and sacred moment, they've come home. Sign number 2, they mirror you in small, subtle ways. After the softening comes something even more mysterious, reflection. If their energy relaxed around you, if their guard fell just a little, what follows next is an unconscious synchrony. You laugh and they laugh, even if they weren't quite listening. You say something in your distinct way, and a week later, it slips from their mouth as if it was always theirs. You brush your hair back, and so do they, almost without realizing it. These aren't deliberate gestures. They're not studying you or trying to flatter you. It's deeper than imitation. It's resonance. Carl Jung spoke of something called participation mystique, the invisible psychic bond where two beings begin to blur at the edges, where the boundary between me and you becomes porous. When real love starts weaving its threads, this happens naturally. Their unconscious tunes itself to yours, like two strings vibrating in the same key. You become a frequency they begin to hum along with. There's a gentleness to this kind of mirroring. It's not loud and it's not strategic. It's in the way they pause when you pause, the way their breathing syncs with yours when sitting in silence. But here's where the shadow enters. They may not understand why this is happening. If they're emotionally unaware or spiritually unready, they might feel overwhelmed by the pull. Why do I say things like them? Why does their sadness echo in my chest? Why does being near them make me feel more like myself? The mirroring might even frighten them. But love, real love, always leaves psychic traces. It nudges us toward communion. The psyche begins to echo what it values, not to mimic, but to connect. These small reflections are signs of a deeper soul remembering, a reaching across dimensions. It's as if their spirit is slowly learning your language. So when you begin to see yourself in their gestures, in their speech, in their softness, understand, it is not coincidence, it is not copying. It is their soul whispering across the veil, I see you in me, and I want to stay close enough to remember who I am. Sign number 3, they protect your peace without needing praise. After mirroring comes something even quieter, guardianship. If they've begun to reflect you, if their soul is already humming in tune with yours, the next sign is this. They begin to make space for your calm, not with grand gestures or declarations, but with a soft, steady presence that expects nothing in return. They sense when you're overwhelmed and step back, not out of disinterest, but out of deep respect. They don't interrupt your silence with demands. They don't pull at you when you're in pain. They remember what makes you anxious, what makes you tired, what dims your spirit, and they protect you from it in subtle, often invisible ways. No applause, no spotlight, just quiet, consistent care. Jung might say this is the self at work, not the ego chasing validation, but the deeper central force of the psyche that seeks wholeness, not applause. This is love that doesn't come from fear or longing. It's not about saving or fixing, it's about honoring your boundaries, honoring your healing, honoring the sacred stillness of your soul without asking for anything back. There's no performance here, just presence. And yet, this is where the shadow lingers, because often they won't speak of it. They won't tell you they noticed your exhaustion or that they quietly shielded you from chaos. They might even hide their care, unsure if it's too much or too soon or too revealing. They'll love from a distance, hoping you feel it in the space they hold rather than the words they never say. But the soul doesn't serve ego timelines. It moves in alignment with truth. When someone begins to guard your light, even when no one's watching, they're loving from their center, a place not touched by pride, but shaped by purpose. True love doesn't interfere. It watches, it listens, and it waits for your rhythm to return. And when you find someone who honors your silence, without rushing to fill it, fix it, or own it, they've already spoken the only words that ever mattered. I see your soul, and I will not disturb it. Sign number 4. Their presence feels like a remembering. And then there are those who don't arrive, they return. Just as sign number 3 taught us that love doesn't always speak, this one reminds us that it doesn't always begin either. It continues, from somewhere deeper, older. After someone has protected your peace without needing praise, the next unfolding of soul connection is this: a presence that feels like memory. You meet them, and it's not a spark, not a thrill, but a quiet, eerie familiarity. They feel known, not in a logical sense, but in the marrow. You don't need to explain yourself. They simply understand. Conversations feel like recollections, not discoveries. Their eyes don't just look at you, they remember you, and the bond forms not through effort, but recognition. Jung spoke of this phenomenon as anamnesis, the soul's remembering, a timeless knowing that bypasses surface attraction and dives straight into the unconscious, where myth, memory, and meaning intertwine. It's not chemistry, it's archetype. You're not meeting them for the first time. You're remembering them with your bones. And yet there's a shadow here too, because when someone feels ancient to you, when their emotions stir something that feels personal but isn't rational, it can be disorienting. You might feel exposed, vulnerable in ways you can't explain. You wonder, why do they matter this much? Why does their presence shake me? Why does their sadness feel like my own? This is the shadow tension. The ego scrambles to categorize them, to find a label, to assign meaning. But the self, that deeper guiding force Jung described, operates beyond ego's timelines. It doesn't care how long you've known them. It only knows the truth of resonance. And when someone's very being brings forgotten parts of you to life, when they awaken unnamed longings or remind you of who you were before the world told you who to be, you're not imagining things. You're encountering a soul echo. This is not just attraction, this is integration. Two inner worlds calling each other home. And maybe that's why it feels so quiet, so unexplainable. Because real recognition has no language, only a pulse. When someone's presence feels like déjà vu of the heart, it's not coincidence. It's a reunion you didn't know you were waiting for. Love doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it's a quiet gaze across the room, a hand that hovers near yours, unsure, a silence that doesn't need to be filled. Jung taught us that the soul speaks in symbols, dreams, sensations, not just words. So pay attention to the person who remembers your coffee order, who watches you speak like every word is a story, who doesn't interrupt your solitude but keeps it company. Love at this level doesn't beg for notice. It breathes beside you. It doesn't rush or demand or announce its name. It simply is. Quiet, grounded, whole. When someone loves you without trying to prove it, they're loving from a deeper place, beyond performance, beyond ego. Don't dismiss these signs. Don't wait for declarations when their entire psyche has already confessed. Because some of the most profound loves begin not with "I love you," but with "You don't have to be anyone else here." Maybe love doesn't knock. Maybe it drifts in, like light through the trees. It doesn't require witness. It doesn't ask for applause. It simply finds you, in a glance, a gesture, a stillness that feels eternal. Carl Jung once wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And perhaps the deepest love is simply this: someone who helps you do exactly that, without fixing, without changing, without words, just presence, just care, just the sacred relief of being seen and not edited. Because the greatest love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a soul whisper, a remembering that you were never alone. This is Echoes of Psyche, where we explore the unseen, the symbolic, and the soul's quiet truths. If this resonated, it wasn't coincidence. It was your psyche remembering something it's always known,